Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be looking at 33's Death Prophet gameplay and see how he's so damn consistent. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about Guardian Grease and the impact this item is currently having on Dota, because for a long time I've been one of the main haters of Guardian Grease. I honestly thought that this item is just straight up horrible. But after a few major buffs, Guardian Grease has become maybe the most popular item of the patch. And honestly, if you're not purchasing it, you should definitely consider it. And I'm going to give you guys some reasons on why that is the case. Also, I want to tell you guys that if you've been struggling with solo queue and you're looking to get to the next rank, I'm going to be able to help you. Like literally with the gameleap website, I'm going to give you guys guides that are going to make it unbelievably clear on what you need to do. So if you've been stuck in the solo queue grind, you don't know what to do, and you want to become absolutely broken, but like actually you want to become much better at Dota, and you want to take it more seriously, the gameleap website is going to help you do that. So click the link down below, I'm going to help you get to the next rank, and I'll see you there. So when it comes to the laning stage for 33, it's all about item timing spikes and level spikes. A lot of players think that professional players just completely own all the time, that they kill people no matter the matchup. It's really not about that. A lot of the laning stage is about staying calm and really focusing on the lane positioning and your last hits. For instance here, we're going to see him nuke the range creep. Even though he didn't even have to nuke the range creep, it's good damage on the Rubik, it pushes in the wave, and that's generally what you want as he looks for the range creep deny. But the big thing that you're looking to do is try to pull the wave back. In Dota, if you can kill the enemy range creep in the offlane as fast as you can, it's generally a good thing, because after you kill the range creep, part of the reason why he nukes it is because then when you pull the wave back, you can bring it all the way back and don't have to tank the creeps, where the enemy safe laner, if they want to keep the creep wave in place, if they want to static the creep wave, they have to tank it the entire time. This is particularly important when you're against ranged safe laners like Lina, Sniper, Drow Ranger. None of these heroes can afford to tank the creep wave, so this strategy of killing the range creep and then pulling creep aggro is extremely effective. From there, he's going to pull aggro again. The reason why a player would pull aggro here, even though it's not going to get his range creep denied, is just so the enemy Mars and enemy Rubik cannot contest the last hits. Once again, it's all about the item timings and level spikes. Do not get your items delayed by overplaying your hand. We're going to see him pull creep aggro once again. And on a hero like Death Prophet, it's kind of the same idea over and over again until you're level 3. Try to kill the range creep safely and chill. We'll see the hit nuke. That's a classic. Let me show you guys that one quickly again. Hit nuke is brutally important in the laning stage. Anytime you're going for a range creep, you do not want to put yourself in a position where you're just nuking, especially against a hero like Mars and like Rubik who have decent base damage. It's even worse if it's against something like Treant, then you really have to hit nuke. But you really, when the creep is half HP, do not want to leave it up to chance. You're going to walk up, right? He's going to watch these creeps go up, gets to half HP, hit, nuke. You don't want to nuke hit because the hit is way slower than the nuke. So you want to hit, nuke, not nuke hit. It's very important to do it in the correct order. From there, we're going to see him once again pull creep aggro. Same idea as always, try to kill the range creep and then pull the creeps away. He decides to nuke here. Honestly, he probably didn't have to. He could have just tried to pull aggro again, but I think he either messed up or wanted to nuke the Mars. I'm not exactly sure. So one thing I've learned recently about Death Prophet, and something I'm also seeing 33 do here, is that at level 2, typically I used to advise not using your E. And the reason why is then when you hit level 3, you want to have 2 charges. But 38 seconds is typically long enough, so if you can even do a little bit of damage, it's actually good, right? You only want to use it though when the enemy walks up for a last hit or is about to walk up for a last hit. For instance here, he's going to suck the Mars, and it's important to note that he doesn't auto-attack the Mars when he walks up and sucks, because if you do that, you're going to tank the entire creep wave, and then siphoning them is almost counterintuitive. So he doesn't go for an auto-attack until he's out of range of the creep wave, and just gets some good damage on the Mars. I will admit, it's not even that effective, so be careful. Only make that play if you're not going to tank the creep wave and if they aren't in position to punish it, because you are running through the creep wave. Don't do that as ranged heroes almost ever. It's only an exception with Spirit Siphon because it does 150 damage and steals 150 health at level 1, which is a 300 HP swing in total. That's pretty notable and obviously special considering you don't have to tank the wave while doing it. Now, the real spike for Death Prophet is level 3, because Siphon goes from 25 damage a second to 50, but that's also heal, so it goes from 300 total swing to 600. Yeah, 600. That's most heroes' health. Actually, no, that's cap. that is not most hero. I'm sorry, guys. That's like CM's HP. All right, you get the point. It's like a lot of damage and a lot of healing. So basically, all you do is hit level 3. Typically, you're going to have movement speed at this point. He went greedy and went for a Wraith Band, actually. The reason why Wraith Band is good on Death Prophet is your hero definitely needs the armor, especially if you go Mana Boots, which he will be. Phase Boots is good, but 33 tends to prioritize the Mana Boots, and we'll talk about why. But he picks up the Wraith Band here, getting himself 2 armor and a little bit of attack speed. Honestly, just being able to deny, or last hit deny, or hit the enemy hero and then deny, whatever it is, just being able to hit more frequently as a hero like Death Prophet, who typically is the lane dominator, is nice. More hits means more last hits, more denies, and more harass. That's kind of the main idea. Also, Wraith Band's very good for Death Prophet when they double at minute 25 because they give a ton of armor. For only 500 gold, they give a ton of armor at minute 25 when the Wraith Band does double. All right, so the next major timing on Death Prophet is level 6. Of course, level 5, guys, just keep the pressure up. And the reason why you buy Mana Boots, there's nothing complex here. You buy Mana Boots because they're the best mana regen item in the game. Soul Ring used to be a contender, but that item got nerfed extremely hard. And while I think Soul Ring is actually okay on Death Prophet, it's not great. And Mana Boots are just, I honestly believe they're broken. And that's surprising to me because, that I'm saying that, because I used to think Mana Boots were like quite bad, but the item has been buffed a lot. And the main thing you just forget sometimes about Mana Boots is that you give it to your teammates. And the reason why I like that on cores a lot more than supports is supports will get Mana Boots at sometimes minute 8, 7, 8, you know? Yes, they can get it earlier if they rush it, and that can be good, and is good right now. Like, Mana Boots are very popular right now. But it's really nice on core, especially when you're laning something like Tiny, who has very expensive nukes. He doesn't need it right now, but often heroes like Tiny, Clock, Tusk, whatever you're laning with, these strength melee heroes really need the mana. And so this item gives 350 mana every single like 55 seconds, right? What is that, 7 mana regen? I mean, you're not gonna buy an item even close to that, right? There's nothing close if you're using this item effectively, considering you can even use it on 3 heroes. So Mana Boots are frankly just really good. Like, just really, really good, especially if you can use it on your teammates. As we'll see him get aggressive here at level 4. But yeah, all he's going to do at this point is suck the Mars every time he can. Mars is pretty decent against DP because he can break the Spirit Siphon, but you know, you could put the pressure, and that's exactly what he's going to look to do. Every time Mars walks up, if Mars walks up a little bit too far, he's going to siphon him like we see here. Just drop the siphon, put the pressure, and get some good damage on the Mars. They don't need to kill him. You don't need to overextend. Don't dive. Just get the pressure, reset, and then do it again. Now, if you're afraid of getting ganked, one cool little thing you can do that is actually really easy to understand, but most people just forget that it's an option, is you can suck a creep. For instance, here, he 100% intentionally sucks this melee creep, and, you know, there's no reason not to. Well, actually, the reason is because, you know, then you can't use it on the enemy, but the thing is, he doesn't want to get ganked. If you're sitting at 600 health, you're in burst range of a lot of combos. A lot of 2-hero combos can kill you from that range, so he wants to sit comfortably at 1040 HP, his max HP. From there, you're going to be rushing Mech, because as we talked about, you're going to be going Greaves, and Mech is just so good early on into the game, especially on a hero like Death Prophet, who really uses it well, because it's only 1775 gold. You really want the 4 armor, and then 275 HP. It's just so much for only 100 mana. 275 burst health is really great for Death Prophet, because this hero, yes, it does have healing with the Siphon, but sometimes it can get bursted. The Mech and the Wand heal is so key, because typically if someone's gonna kill you on Death Prophet, they gotta instantly blow you up or the Siphons will heal you. So the Mech and the Wand prevent that, and that's why this item build is so synergistic with Death Prophet, and this hero is starting to see quite a bit more play in the pro scene. I definitely even recommend picking it in pubs. It's a little bit difficult, but hopefully you can use what you're learning from today's video to you know, win your pubs. And I actually think this hero's quite good in pubs if you understand these concepts. Either way, he's gonna hit his level 6. Level 7 is insane timing on this hero, 4 charges on the Siphon. He does actually opt for Crypt Swarm here, and this is something you can do as well. I personally am not a huge fan of it, and the only reason why is I feel like at level 6 and around level 7, you want to take this safe lane tower, and the way to be most powerful to do that is to max your Siphon, right? To get that 4th charge and get that extra damage and healing. So personally, I'm anti this build. I get it though. It's way better at clearing the creep wave, as we actually see him suck the large creep here. Once again, he just wants to be topped off in case they try to burst him. And you might be like, oh, but then he won't have the charges. Yes, but you're, once again, afraid of getting bursted from full. Typically, if they don't kill you from full, you'll turn the fight, and we're about to see a key example of that. Anytime you get space, you want to try to take the tower. He'll pop his Exo and look for the safe lane tower here. Stand pretty close to the tower if you don't feel threatened. It will make your Exo do more damage. If you do feel threatened, like 33 does currently, look at the map, he sees nothing. He wants to back up and let the Exo do work from max range until the creep wave comes, in which case he'll try to farm it. He waits for a little bit of info. He definitely wants to take the tower, but he's afraid. And for good reason. They could and are ganking him. They set up and try to make the play, but just in time. Oh, he gets off one siphon, gets off two, pops the wand, pops the mech, gets off the second siphon, gets sprouted. The Exo ends, his ultimate ends, and his ultimate, how it works, is when it ends, it gives you health based on how much damage it has done. So it ends and it full heals him. I don't think that even ended up mattering. I think it would have lived anyway, but it's a huge turnaround. This goes from him just dying to a massive set of kills for Tundra, and that's what DP can do, and that's why this mech is so powerful. You can see the siphons might not have been enough burst heal. They might have been able to take him out, but boom, it shoots him up to 300 health, and he's just fine. He's chilling. The siphons go off, the Exo ends, and he turns around the fight. They get the safe lane tower, and that's a massive turning point in the game for Tundra, because honestly, they were doing quite well. I think Nigma was in a great spot up until then. And yeah, that's a major play from 33. From there, he sits in his lane, and honestly, he's generally chilling. You're even going to see him side pull here at minute 12-18. A lot of people will see this, or honestly haven't noticed that this is a trend going on in the pro scene right now. It's something I personally spam off cooldown, which is anytime I'm playing a hero that cannot flash farm the jungle as an offlaner. A couple examples of this are Pangolier, Death Prophet, Tusk offlane. Honestly, a lot of offlaners can farm, like Axe can farm, Centaur can farm, all the unit heroes, you know what I mean? So if your hero can farm, you don't have to prioritize this too much, but that's not the full picture. There's a bigger picture to this, which is kind of just the idea that creep waves are worth a lot of gold. And if you side pull, you're sort of denying the creep wave, because he's not really prioritizing that here, because he could be denying and not auto-attacking the acorns. But it's also just about getting the wave back. After Mars kills this, the creep wave will then push into him. If he didn't side pull here, where would the creep wave meet? Here. Which he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to go farm the creep wave here, because he can get arena'd into a rotation. And yeah, they can maybe try to turn it again, but that's a low percentage play. You don't want to take that risk. That bottom play nearly ended up being a disaster. Thankfully, it worked out. So the side pull is going to allow him to take this camp and then go back to the bottom wave and farm it up. You don't need to make big rotations on your mech timing. Sometimes you can pull the 33 and chain pull. Yeah, he's actually just large camp pulling, and it's totally fine. Some people think this is insane, and you will get flamed in your pubs for not quote-unquote pushing. But what are you going to do? Push the tier 2 tower 13 minutes in? No, you're not going to do that. And this takes away a lot of the farm from the enemy safe laner. So it's really a top tier play that a lot of players are experimenting and using with. And basically his main priority as he goes for the third pull on the 3rd minute is getting the Greaves. Yep, just farm up the Greaves. Get the Greaves, because they give you a Dispel. So even if the enemy buys Vessel to counter you on Death Prophet, which a lot of people do, it doesn't matter, because you can dispel it as he disassembles his mana boots. I mean, he disassembles his Guardian Greaves, because I guess you can mana boot and then reassemble the Greaves? They were on cooldown though, that's so crazy. You can disassemble Guardian Greaves to pop mana boots, but they were on cooldown, so he couldn't do it. Maybe he'll do it shortly here, because they should be about back up soon. I don't know. One quick tip as well is Guardian Greaves usage. A lot of people think you can only use it to heal people, and that's understandable, but we'll see them get a pick off on clock here. And anytime the map might like chill a bit, for instance, you get a support pick off and you think the enemy team is just gonna back off, which isn't likely in pubs because people just kill themselves off cooldown. But if you think for whatever reason the game is gonna stall out a bit, it's only a 40-second cooldown, it's not that long. You can use it to give yourself some mana, so just keep that in mind. It's quite important. And I know I hear your cries, you're thinking, Speed, please tell me more about side pulls, so don't worry. One really advanced thing you can do is if it's the late timer on the side pull, because you can side pull at 17 or 47, right? Or you can side pull at 51. You heard that right. You can side pull at 51. And then when you side pull at 51 and drag it this way, if you're lucky, the camp will stack. And when it stacks, your creep wave will die and you get the farm a stack. which is huge, right? He's literally letting the creep wave die. And this is Tundra's concept. It's really stupid. I honestly, part of me doesn't like that this is in the game. I theory crafted this a while ago. People doubted me. They hated on me. Look what's happening. This is the future of Dota. I literally think at some point in Dota's future, people are going to put a priority on sentry warding the large camp so that this cannot happen. I actually think that this will be the evolution of Dota. You might not believe me. I could be wrong. I'm not, I cannot see the future, but I'm telling you, this might be the future, because then you put down a ward in this area, which they didn't do here. But you put down a ward in this area, the enemy team comes to contest it, which often they will, and you just kill them. I've played multiple games trying this strategy. It's extremely effective, and you will outfarm the enemy carry every time doing it. And you will shut down the enemy carry without having to invade the jungle, which is nice, because often invading the jungle gets you killed. Now, we're going to skip ahead here, because honestly, the game goes pretty stagnant for a while, so I wanted to focus on one of his major fights. We're going to see Tundra set up at the bottom tier 2 tower here. And you can use Exo to push, but try to be aware of doing it because it leaves a big gap where the enemy can fight your team. And if your team isn't aware of this, like the fact that Exo is on cooldown, then they can die and get punished. Now, you can fight without Exo for sure, but you need to be careful. So we'll see him set up on the tier 2 tower here, and he's gonna look to take it from the tree line, which is a nice thing about Exo. You can do this. You can just hide in the trees and take the tier 2 tower, which is really effective. He gets flared by clockwork, but still, they get the tier 2 tower, and that's nice because it lets them take the outpost, and that's the main reason he's making this play, so that they can take over this outpost. And this gives them a huge TP advantage, XP advantage, and vision advantage. Now, they end up taking the fight on the side of Nigma because the Exo is ending. However, it wasn't ending yet, and this is the power of Exorcism. He siphons the Furion, and now, because he has Greaves, Siphon, and BKB, he is more than fine. The Furion's going in, and look at the damage Prophet's taking through BKB, because Exo goes through BKB. You destroy most right clickers. I hate playing Prophet in the DP in a lot of games, because if you don't shut down the DP, and she gets her first few defensive items, you can't kill her. She completely outmans up you. And that's the case in a lot of these right-click matchups, as he forces the Prophet to burn the BKB defensively, which is worst case scenario for Prophet, and is going to chase him down. It's only his Aegis, and they lose 2 supports. Also, Enigma buys back on the clock, so they decide to get out, which is a great play call from Tundra. So they get the outpost, they get the tier 2, and they don't lose anything major. They even get a buyback from the Rubik, which is really nice. Does he die here? Oh, no, okay, he's even able to BKB and walk away. Also, funny enough, he buys a second Wraith Band here. No joke, he sells this item and buys a second Wraith Band. I have a feeling he would have considered buying 3 if it wasn't for the fact that he's against an Nature's Prophet and needs the Quelling Blade for Sprout. Next, let's talk about Blink Dagger and Shard on Death Prophet. So he picks up the Shard, and what it does is it gives you 1 more charge, and then after 3 seconds, they will be feared for 1.5 seconds. Now, honestly, I'm personally anti-Shard on Death Prophet. I just don't think it's that good. Clearly, he disagrees, and so there's some merit to that. He's 33 and just 1 TI, but it fears them and gives you 1 extra charge, which is definitely not bad. I think it's particularly good if you have Aether Lens, because it extends the cast range and the break range of the Spirit Siphon, which makes it much better. So I kind of can get behind this Shard a lot more if you go the Octarine or just Aether build. So I'm a little bit surprised to see it without. It's okay with Blink as well. Like, you can Blink on someone and go for the solo kill that way, but either way, the Blink I really like. I buy Blink most of my Death Prophet games because it just lets you follow up the stun. And most importantly, this hero does a lot of damage when Exo is directly on top of someone. When you are directly on top of someone, Exo shreds. We saw that in the Furion clip earlier when he was on top of Sumail's Nature's Prophet, right? It just destroyed him through BKB. But it's all about being on top of them. If you're not directly on top of them, how can you dominate them, if you know what I mean? Okay, so they jump onto the Prophet here. He's gonna blink in, goes for the Chad blink, drops the E as well. And the nice thing about Death Prophet 2, by the way, is your E does damage through BKB. You cannot link them when they're BKB'd, but if you link them and then they BKB, it will stay on them, which is pretty weird, huh? It's definitely weird. But it does quite a bit of damage to Sumail here, even through the BKB, which is going to allow them to finish off the kill. Without that Siphon going through the BKB, I think he wouldn't have died to the Tusk right click there, and they get the job done. He also then move on to the Clockwork, goes for the Siphon. I think quickly he realizes, like, maybe I shouldn't dive this deep. Does have the BKB, so he's confident. No Nature's Prophet means very limited damage on the side of Nigma. And so with the Exo going, he was a little bit confident there. But unfortunately, they had to push in their waves, so they're going to chill. This was really just an attempt from them to actually try to get Roshan and make a move from there. But yeah, nice fight. And now we're going to see one of the game-ending fights from Tundra here as they move into the enemy jungle. The key is just understanding which hero doesn't have a way to get away from your Exo, because if that's the case, they just die. If you can get a Siphon off, even if they BKB, you will kill them. That's one of the nice things about Death Prophet. She's somewhat of a BKB counter in the late game, and so you hard counter heroes like Drow, Sniper, TA, Prophet, if you can cleanly get on top of them. That's the key caveat. If you can cleanly get on top of them and get your BKB off, you will out-man up these heroes. As long as you're not Giga poor. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're poor, you will just die. But with this double Wraith Band, Greaves, his armor is much higher than it usually would be. I think it's even bugged right now. He has way more than +4 armor with 2 Wraith Bands. Way more. Because 1 Wraith Band gives +4 armor. So whatever, it's a little bit bugged. He even doesn't have a neutral item, which I guess he's shipping something out. But yeah, as the fight breaks out, he's looking for the Furion. This game in particular, it's a very easy target. It's their highest net worth hero, and you are a direct counter to the hero. And as a result, he's gonna look for a silence onto the group here, which he does hit. It's a good silence, prevent the Rubik from getting anything off. I guess the Darkseer already used Greaves as well because he's silenced for 6 seconds, which is always nice. And so he goes onto the Darkseer, would be looking to take out the Furion, but it's barely a fight. So yes, if it was an actual fight and it was a close fight, he would go on to the Nature's Prophet and try to take him out of the fight. But unfortunately, that is not, fortunately, I guess that's not the case. All right, and finally, let's talk about talents before I end off the video. At level 10, you almost always take 14% magic resist, which is just straight up good. At level 15, of course, if you're buying your shard, you definitely take Spirit Siphon damage. I'm personally also a fan of going Kaya Sanj on this hero. It's not good in a competitive scene, but in pubs, if you're snowballing really hard, Kaya Sanj and then taking the Crypt Storm cooldown is way better for farming and pushing in creep waves. So if the game is slow pace, you can go Crypt Storm cooldown. If you're going Greaves and playing high tempo, I recommend going Spirit Siphon damage. At level 20, 400 health is more popular, but if your team has a bit of a lockdown problem and you're not getting bursted, then the Spirit Siphon move speed slow is way better in my opinion. It's quite notable and allows you to stay on top of targets, which with Exo is actually very important. So I'm a big fan. And at level 25, this one's a bit tough. Most people take Exo Spirits. It's just another level in your ulti, which is a ton of damage, and Exo Spirits do a lot. But the Spirit Siphon replenish time is honestly very good, especially if you have that Aether Lens and the Shard. You're gonna be fearing people like crazy. It's pretty nuts. All right, but thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you're inspired to play a little bit of Death Prophet, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the gameleap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.